This episode of Truth's Table is brought to you by Nav Press, publisher of God, Where Are You? By Dominique Young, a powerful and honest invitation for women to bring their depression, anxiety, grief, and spiritual questions before God and discover His presence in the midst of pain. Learn more and buy your copy at navpress.com. Sisters, how y'all feel? Brothers, y'all all right? If this is your first time at Truth's Table, welcome to the table. And if you've been sitting at the table with us all these years, we are so grateful that you have been listening to us through these years, and we are inviting you to partner with us and support our work at patreon.com/truthstable. Now pull up a chair and have a seat at the table with us.
Truth's Table is pleased to bring to the table Senator London P. Lamar. Senator London P. Lamar is a Memphis-based legislator and strategist who represents Tennessee's 33rd Senate District, which includes parts of Memphis and Shelby County. She is the youngest woman and the youngest African-American to serve in the Tennessee State Senate. She serves as chair of the Tennessee State Democratic Caucus, where she helps manage caucus messaging, coordinate priorities, and elevates an agenda grounded in community needs. In the Senate, Lamar serves on the Judiciary Committee, the Finance Committee, and the Joint Ways and Means Committee, positions that place her at the center of policy, public safety, and budget decisions impacting families statewide. Before joining the Senate, Lamar served 4 years in the Tennessee House of Representatives, District 91. In 2022, she was appointed by the Shelby County Commissions to fill the District 33rd vacancy and later won election to continue serving her community. Her public service is defined by a consistent focus, strong schools, healthy families, and safe communities. Senator Lamar is widely recognized for her leadership on maternal health equity and policies that reduce preventable maternal morbidity and mortality. In 2024, legislation associated with her maternal health work advanced reforms connected to the state's maternal mortality review and prevention efforts. She has also elevated community-based, evidence-informed solutions and strengthens outcomes for mothers and babies across Tennessee. Outside the legislature, Lamar has continued to build capacity in education and community leadership, supporting pipeline programming and day-to-day implementation in the Memphis area. She earned her BA from St. Mary's College and remains committed to developing the next generation of civic leaders through advocacy, community partnership, and public service.
Hey y'all, welcome to Truth's Table, Midwives of Culture for Grace and Truth. I'm Ekemini.
And I'm Christina.
This table is built by Black women and for Black women. So welcome to the table. See how you doing, girl?
I am doing good today. I mean, this is a little trippy for us. We're not in our usual location.
We ain't.
We are at a completely different place. Here we are walking around in the aisles of politics today.
We politicking.
Politics, and I am really, really psyched to be here with Senator London Lamar, who this is a very big deal.
Come on.
And I don't know if I live in Tennessee, but I don't know if all the people know who you are and know your accomplishments and know that all the first that you represent.
Come on.
Okay.
All the first.
But we absolutely wanted to sit down with you to hear more about your story. But also we are trying to model for our listeners what it's like to have a real conversation with an elected official who represents your interest, your state or your city's interest, to encourage them, to support them, and to hold them accountable,
Absolutely.
Right? So we don't completely fangirl out. But we are so excited to be here with you today.
I'm so excited to be here with the both of you two to have such an impactful conversation around just, being able to tell my story, some of the things I'm passionate about, but also, enlighten the public on a little bit about politics to hopefully encourage not only to support some of the things I'm working on, but to support political engagement in itself, really re-emphasize the importance of getting out to vote, impactful legislators to put in office to advocate for you and the issues you care most about. Hopefully I can bring conversation and more light to that topic because this is such a pivotal time here in this country, especially for us, that we gotta be involved and we gotta be politically engaged and educated. So, let's have a great conversation. I'm excited.
Well, let's go there.
Let's do it.
Senator Lamar, why don't we go ahead and start off with your story? What is your story? What would you like to share with our sisters at the table?
Introduce yourself to the non-Tennessee people.
So the non-Tennessee people. So I'm Senator London Lamar. You're sitting in my office, chairwoman of the Tennessee Senate Democratic Caucus.
Come on.
So I'm 50% of the leadership for the Senate Democrats. And I'm also the youngest woman, the youngest African-American ever to serve in Tennessee Senate history. I was elected when I was 27. I'm 35 now.
Wow.
New fact is also I'm the first sitting senator to give birth while serving.
Wow.
So the idea of motherhood,
Yeah.
not that there aren't mothers here, but walking into this role and starting the motherhood journey is not necessarily something that's common, but I'm also showing you people that it's possible.
Yeah.
And I have to give honor and grace to the women and the mothers who groomed me, which is my mother and my grandmother. And I would say, like, how, did I get here? First of all, I think it's God ordained. I think that God put his certain people in assignment when they are born. And I think this was his assignment for my life and for what he wanted to do for me. And in that way, he empowered my grandmothers to demonstrate what it's like to collaborate. When I used to watch her friends were in their social club where they used to have club meetings, planning events, planning trips. And I used to stand around the table being nosy, watching them, keep tabs, calling, talking politics.
In the grown folks' business.
No, in grown folks' I was all in grown folks' business when I was growing up, I promise you. And then my mother, always a busybody, kept me in church groups, different community organizations, volunteering. And so to see my grandmother's leadership skills and collaboration skills with her friends, what they did with their club for 50 years.
Wow.
And then to have my mother's intentionality around service and giving back, that kind of manifested me to be a very civically engaged person. Like I went with my mom and grandma to vote every election, like asking them, can I press the buttons in the voting booth as well? And so, when I got to high school, I was involved in student council and all of these different clubs because I knew that if I wanted to be engaged in whatever community I was, I had to actually be a part of that. And so that kind of became who I was. It was always, I was interested. But shockingly enough, while I was engaged in school, I wanted to be an engineer. Why? Because growing up, I thought, Black girls in STEM will make a lot of money. And I wanted to be someone to break that wealth gap, right?
Get to the bag.
So I was, applying to college as an engineering major, but my senior year of high school, President Barack Obama was running for president at the time. And like that whole campaign just had me on fire.
Yes.
Like I was, even as a young 17, 18-year-old, it was so inspiring.
It was.
And so I remember the day, I would never forget the day that he won that election. I remember what I had on, what I did that day. And I was always interested in politics, but I never thought it was possible till I saw him and his chocolate wife that looked like us walk on that stage with him and his little girls that looked like me. Yes.
We watched it at church, actually.
I'm going to do politics because it's possible.
Wow.
And so the colleges I decided to narrow down. I said I want to do political science and it was totally fine. And I went to college and majored in political science and I never looked back.
Yeah.
Wow.
And here we are.
I mean, it's just so amazing how a moment like that particular moment, how that can just grab a hold of your imagination.
Absolutely.
And stretch it to a place that you didn't even think it could go to before. And
Absolutely.
so, I want to switch gears a little bit because this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart about your interests around maternal health.
Yes.
And I don't think we can talk enough about maternal health and the safety of women, particularly the safety of Black women in this country. And as someone who had one of my dearest friends die in labor with her baby, this is a topic that I try to talk about as much as possible in her honor.
Yes.
And so, and so many people I know have what sounds like, I don't know, war stories instead of labor stories.
Oh, absolutely.
And so why is this topic important to you? And tell folks what you have been doing to bring attention to it.
Absolutely. So first, give honor to the advocacy for you and condolences to your friend and her family.
Yes.
Unfortunately, her story is the story of why I'm involved because when in 2015, my cousin dropped dead at 8 months pregnant outside her job and she and her baby died. And I had to go to the hospital and claim her body and that baby's body. So that was her third attempt of having a baby. Each time she almost died. And she was she didn't believe in abortion, even though the doctor told her, you know, this may not be safe. You know, she was like, oh no, I'm having my baby. And nobody ends up making it, which is also why I'm a big proponent of abortion, not for the idea of not wanting kids, but the fact that it's an opportunity for you to live, you know. But she didn't exercise it right, and it scarred me for life. And so that was my first real life story, and this was way before I got elected to office, of the dangers of pregnancy, of seeing her having so many challenges. And so maternal health and women's reproductive justice is something that was near and dear to my heart. It's something I've always wanted to champion. So my freshman year in the legislature, I ended up getting pregnant myself. Wasn't married. It was like a one-night thing. They ended up turning back. Like, you know, we all like, it is what it is.
This is a whole movie.
It's a whole, no, my life is a movie. I really need any writers.
Hello.
So,
and she's still here.
Okay.
And you're still here to tell the story.
Thank God.
Amen.
And it was interesting because it was very daunting. It wasn't a happy pregnancy. I had to deal with the fact that my child's father kind of left me hanging, was saying all these bad things. I'm in the public eye. I just won this elected position. You know, now everybody was saying, how you gonna be the youngest woman here, and then you sitting here having a baby out of wedlock. This is not a well-paying job, so the expenses of being a single mother, like, I was stressed out. And so then on October 19th, I ended up having a placental abruption, and basically a pregnancy-related stroke. And so I was like basically having a stroke and in the most excruciating pain that you could ever think of. So I rushed myself to the hospital. My baby ended up dying and they couldn't get him out in time. So I had, and I almost died too. My blood pressure was 210/120.
Wow.
So I was like literally about to stroke out until they put me down. I had to have a C-section, deliver the baby. And it was interesting that everything was normal. And then 2 seconds later, I wake up and it's this dead child next to me that's supposed to be mine, after I spent all of this money on a baby shower, had everything, you know, going. And then you walk out, now you've got to pay for a funeral. So having all of that to go through really changed my life for, now I can say the better, but it just definitely just put my life in just straight havoc at that time. And to be a fresh, like in the public eye, all in front of the whole world. Because it's not like you can hide a baby anyway, you know? So you in the public eye, you got to be places. It's not like I could hide or, you know, go missing for a couple of months, you know, like everybody knew.
Oh my goodness.
So I didn't let it, you know, take me off my track. I decided to turn my pain into purpose and really maximize my advocacy around women's healthcare. And so I used my elected position to now be able to champion something that I thought that was so important, because at the end of the day, like, maternal health is pro-life policy. So I said, wait a minute, you know, if I live in a pro-life state, majority Republican, they're the ones talking about pro-life, then I think what you saw happen to me and how I can bring light to the work, you should have no problem aligning with me around these issues around maternal health care. And so I decided to dive completely into a legislative agenda around pushing maternal health issues. And I modeled a lot of my legislation around Kamala Harris legislation that she was championing as a U.S. Senator before the VP stuff. Like, she made maternal health popular on a national scale. And I was thinking a lot of the things that she's pushing, I could replicate here in Tennessee. And just having to tweak a couple of things, and I did. And in addition to championing that, I did create the Maternal Health Day on the Hill, maternal health caucuses. I brought doulas to the state to be something that's seen as now a reputable profession for women in the healthcare space. I felt like if I always had a doula, she would have told me your foot shouldn't been that big. It's a sign of high blood pressure as well. So there's a lot of ways. It was a lot of ways. And here we are. But I do want to say the positive thing. I have a baby now. And I had a successful pregnancy. I have a 2-year-old. He is a light. Thank you, my little rainbow baby. So to all the women watching, how you start doesn't necessarily mean how you go in. You know, so I want to also encourage women who have been through a tough situation, is that if this is something that you want, it's possible. Just, you know, just making sure you have the right things in place to make this happen.
Sisters, we carry so much. We carry expectations at work, at home, in our friendships, in our faith. We carry responsibilities. We carry other people's needs. And often we carry our own pain quietly, telling others to be strong, to push through, to keep the faith, but what happens when you're exhausted? When depression lingers? When anxiety won't let you rest? When shame, grief, or even spiritual doubt creep in? In God, Where Are You? Dominique Young creates a safe and honest space to bring those questions into the light. In it, you won't find a book filled with cliches or easy answers. It's a chance to be real about what you're feeling and to discover that God is not intimidated by your sorrow, your anger, or your uncertainty. If you need to take a healing journey rooted in faith, authenticity, and truth, or if you've ever whispered, God, where are you in my pain? You are not alone, and this book is for you. God, Where Are You? By Dominique Young is available now wherever books are sold. Go to navpress.com to buy your copy.
As you were talking, I was wondering, like, oh my goodness, what does it mean? First of all, how to go through that privately, but then have to do it publicly, newly elected, in a new role, trying to transition. That's so much at one time. I'm curious about your own spiritual disciplines, about what keeps you from cynicism, what helped to encourage you, on your path toward motherhood again. What helps to root you and ground you?
So I, right after that COVID hit.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So it was in 2019, COVID hit in 2020. So I was able to heal a little bit in isolation because the world stopped. Yeah. Everybody was put in their house. Yeah. So I was there by myself doing anything I could to feel better. Yeah. One of the things I did do to make me feel better was, nobody thinks about this, but because I was 32 weeks when I had my abruption, so I was basically almost full term. Yeah. So after the C-section, I looked like I had a baby. Yes. Right? So I had the scars, the mama stomach and everything. I started working out and running again. Wow. So when COVID, you couldn't do nothing but be outside, I would go run in the neighborhood, go to the park, and I got my body back. Yeah. Because you would be shocked at how mentally triggering it is to look in the mirror and look like you had a baby, but there's no baby there. And so one of the ways was, okay, let me get my body back to normal. And I adopted a healthier lifestyle, started eating better because I had gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, all of those things. Let me start running. And if I want to do this again, I need to be healthier. So I know I want children, right? So let me start. This is a wake-up call to be healthier. I started playing video games again. Okay. It is what it is. I'm a Grand Theft Auto player. Okay. So all those people who piss me off, I played GTA to get over it. And I just kind of just did different things, but it was hard. Yeah. My temper got worse. So my patience started to go away because I felt like I also didn't protect myself from people who also had something to say. And I let those things stress me out. So I was like, ain't nobody ever gonna come for me again. Or if I don't like this, or I feel like you coming for me, I'm gonna do what I need to pull that back a little bit. But, it was me trying to, as a way of trying to be more protective of myself. Yes, absolutely. I isolated myself from people a lot of times. Like if I'd have to be there, I wouldn't. When the world opened back up, I started going out again to help because I'm a sociable person. So being, also I started to isolate too much. So then I shifted into putting myself out there more, starting to date again, heal from that. I wish I would have took therapy more seriously. I think the healing process would have been a little bit faster. Yeah. But I'm very self-aware. So it's like I saw it, so it's a matter of doing the things. But it's still a work in progress. Sure. I still have flaws from that situation. I'm still, dealing with learning how to problem solve with people. I'm one of the type of people where I'm the nicest person up front, but sometimes when you do something to cross me or piss me off, I just leave you alone. And it's never a fixing. You just gone. Just gone out the way, and I don't have to deal with you no more. As a coping mechanism, but I want to get better at solving real relationship problems. Yeah. So it's a give and take. It's nothing perfect. I just tell women who've been through tough situations, whether it's grief or whatever, if you are just working on being better than you were the day before, you're doing good.
Yeah. So one step at a time.
One step at a time.
I have no doubt that your constituents and the people who support you adore you.
Oh, I love them too.
Yes. Because of how transparent and how honest you are, about yourself.
Yeah.
And it's really uncommon, actually, to hear a political leader name their struggle
Yes.
and their current struggles. Like, I'm a work in progress, right?
Yes.
And there's such a freedom in being honest about those things.
It is. Because I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So like, when I walk in the room, I'm not like seeing action. Like, I'm just myself.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like America now wants more authentic elected officials. Like, they're sick of like the whole fakeness of it all. Like, unfortunately, that was one of the criticisms about our soror was, you know, like, we don't know you. And like, no, I don't want nobody to ever say anything about that to me. And I go back to, how did I get involved in politics? I was inspired by seeing President Barack Obama.
Yeah.
So I also know, by being the first on everything, like, you have to give people permission. And I want young people to know that you can be yourself, you can be authentic, and you can be about the work and get there. And so I recognize that a part of my role is also giving back to the people coming behind me and opening doors for them.
That's right.
And I recognize I'm opening the doors for more authentic legislators, more realness. I'm opening doors for mothers who thought they can't have young children and do this. I am opening the door for people who are experiencing grief and want to take their pain and actually maximize it to some sort of purpose. Like, I want to be the glass breaker for all of those people who never saw themselves in this position before. Like, I want them to see themselves in me and then get that confidence to run, because I don't want to be in this seat forever. I am a firm believer in passing the torch. And even when I look at my staff and the young Black girls I'm bringing in up under me, like, I'm doing everything I can in this seat to pass it on to you. You know, whoever's ready to come after me. And I think that's one of the failures of our community, of the generation before, but it's on me to change the tide and make opportunities for the generation coming behind me. And that's allowing you to be your authentic self, allow you to fumble and stand back up. You know, like, you can fall and get back up, and you can still be successful, because no path is perfect. No path is a straight line. No. There's some turns, there's a cliff, there's some climbs. Like, it's all of those things.
It's a whole line dance.
It's a whole.
Hello, one that we can learn.
Cupid flex, anybody?
Like, because we're politicians, we're not absent from life's challenges. We're human, just like everybody else. Like, I cry and bleed and get sick, and like everybody else, I gotta go to the bathroom, go to sleep, get dressed, shower, just like everybody else. And so I want the average person to see themselves in me, because I'm one of them legislators who's advocating for the average person.
I mean, who is on your mind? Give us some examples of who is on your mind when you do this work. And again, for our folks who are listening in, it's a great opportunity to hear how you think and how you see the world, right? And your role. But to remind people, again, that we need to be praying for our elected officials. We need to be encouraging them. We need to be supporting them. We need to be reminding them of why we put them there, or whether we voted for them or not, why they are there, right? So who is on your mind when you come into your office, and who are you thinking about serving?
So I think about my mom, not because she's my mom, like, I love my mom, but I saw the sacrifices she made. Like, my mom to me represents the average American, the Black woman who is working a working class job. She's getting up every day, taking care of kids. She is working real hard to make sure we're in the best program. She's skipping lunch to make sure she has enough money to do all the things to give me a better opportunities as well. So I think about her and her struggles, and think about she is the average person. And so when I look at her and all the things she taught me about serving, even when you don't have everything that you need, I also remind myself that even though I'm still don't have everything I feel like I need, I'm still gonna be fighting for the average person, people like her. I think about the young people all the time, because I believe it's hard to sometimes change the mind of a grown person, but I could probably change the hearts and mind of a young person. And I may not be able to change the current circumstances, but I can hopefully change the future by investing in them and giving them the confidence to say that you can do it. Like, again, I would think about Obama, just seeing him on the stage is literally the reason why I'm here. Of like, just seeing him walk out on that stage, him dare to run, is what made me believe that I could be in this position. So, you know, I always think about young people, and I just think about, all the women who've been through what I went through of maternal health, it is my priority topic. It's 129 of us here. So everybody has their thing, right? But I know what my thing is, what I can do the most impactful at, and that's maternal health. And so, you know, I think what more can I do to push the needle with Tennessee having the highest maternal mortality rate in the nation here? And we're supposed to be pro-life. I don't want no other woman to die or hear that you about to die like I did. I don't want nobody to have to incur the burial expenses that I had to incur. I don't want nobody to have to experience that loss. My goodness. It's hard. So I just want to change those circumstances. And then I just want Tennessee to be a better state. Absolutely. Like life is hard. I'm struggling. Like I'm feeling and trying to pay my bills every day. Child care kicking my butt just like everybody else. You know, the economy is terrible. I still can't afford to buy a house. I'm still renting like everybody else. Like I get it. So I'm also advocating for the average person and the fact that this is just unaffordable to live right now.
It is.
And like,
no matter where you are.
I'm not bougie. I'm not rich. Like, I want to remind people who we really need to be advocating for. Right. And unfortunately, the average person is not always thought of in this building where I serve, but I'm a constant reminder of who's really important.
Thank you. You know, Senator Lamar, I'm curious to know what needs to be done and what do the sisters at the table need to do in order to hold you and other elected officials accountable to, say, even maternal health and bringing that down, you know, and making it a better opportunity and landscape for Black women to have children safely.
Absolutely.
You know, what needs to happen? What can they do? You know, because it seems like such a huge problem and a huge, massive issue that it just feels like, what could I do? People can get intimidated.
Two-part question. One, you can do all the things to support me. Get registered to vote. Go vote for me at the polls. Donate to my campaign.
Yes.
Right, we can do that whole spiel. You'll see that on my social media later this year. What I want for us as Black women, let's talk about our community. First, I want us to break the stigma around speaking it. Like, you know, when I decided to share my story, I really didn't have I could not have shared it, but there was a lot of older Black women who were like, you really about to tell people what happened? Like, you like, just, you know, sweep this, like, just let this go ahead, dust settle, go focus on something else. It's been so taboo to talk about our miscarriages, our losses. You know, you just go away, you had a baby.
And that's why when folks have miscarriages, they feel so alone and so isolated. It's more common than people recognize.
Not only alone, one feeling that I felt that people don't often admit is, when we say one thing I was scared of was, I would hope that men didn't think I was barren. Right, like I can't have kids because there's this stigma around infertility, right?
Oh wow!
So I was worried about, you know, people that like, will a man want to date me thinking I can't have no more babies? Which like obviously is not true, but I want us to kind of
thoughts,
all of these, all the stereotypes we first got to break them within ourselves before we demand the world break them about us. Secondly, we need to get honest about comprehensive sex education in a grander scheme. Like, we don't talk about sex, periods, healthcare amongst our community. We don't need to be giving our little girls and young men hot Cheetos and all of those things early on, knowing it's going to impact their periods. Then it's going to it's going to end up creating healthiness. Then it leads to obesity. Obesity is one of the factors of why my cousin died. She was overweight. You know, all of those things. Like, before we even have the babies, what we're not doing ahead of time to ensure that we are capable enough to actually deliver children. Soul food is not healthy. I'm sorry. Like, we putting fat back in our greens, all of this other stuff. Like, we got to change our lifestyle as a Black community, as Black women, in order to change the circumstances around motherhood. And then we also need to break stigmas around motherhood. I know we've been having babies for umpteenth years, you know, so, you know, we got to do better at loving on our Black mothers. Like, you know, if she hit 3 kids, it's like, okay, we get it, but what we gonna do to help her out now?
Yeah.
Like, how are we gonna wrap our arms around the mothers in our communities? And that's accountability for not only us as women to have hard conversations, but also hold these brothers accountable too. We gotta make family great again.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's made grandma. We gotta make family popular. We gotta really love on the idea of marriage. Not that anything's wrong with being single. Like, I'm gonna do my thing single too. But we want to make sure we, encourage our men to marry the women if they get pregnant. Yes. We want to encourage the idea that couples are sexy again, like our grandparents. That is what's gonna give us through the tough times is each other. And then for all our single folks, what can we do to build a better community amongst yourselves so that you can love each other? You don't feel isolated from your own community. So it's the idea of family in the different ways that it looks like how we gonna bring the Black family back. Yeah. And I think that will help as well. And then we also got to encourage the faith community to do a better job at actually delivering services and support versus getting up in the pulpit and just talking. The pulpit needs to be to the people. And I want us to encourage the church to refocus its priorities, be less judgmental, and be more service oriented. And if we can do those things amongst ourselves as personal accountability, in addition to making sure we're mobilizing to the polls, then I think that we then can take some of our power back to change our circumstances and hold the system accountable too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Again, we are so grateful for the clarity of your voice, the rawness of your voice, and that it's rooted in a real story, a real story that's not over. It is just starting for you. Yeah. And so we're really, really grateful to be able to be in your office and to hear about who you are.
Thank you.
Not only as a legislator, but as a woman. And so we're just so grateful to sit with you today.
I'm so grateful to be here with you all. It's been I definitely pick and choose, my story is so vulnerable of how, and who I share my story with, because I want to make sure it's delivered in a way that's proper and brings dignity. So I'm thankful to connect with you ladies and be able to be invited to your platform to share my story and enlighten your listeners around the work that I'm doing. I will say, I'm just overly honored to be in this role. Now, I really believe God put me here. Absolutely. I don't think that it's this. A lot of things that's happening. I ain't been sitting down or playing or whatever. They just walking by faith. But I know faith without works is dead. And so, it's just being a good person. First and foremost, I wake up every day of trying to do the right thing the first time, be a good person, treat people right. Just stand true to my values and standing strong on, the things that I care about. And I let God do the rest. It's just go fall in my lap. And I feel like God talks to me in my dreams. And, a lot of times he gives me the vision when I lay down and I close my eyes. And then I wake up in the morning with a sense of clarity around what he wants me to do. And so that's my message to all young people is just stay consistent, stay focused, stay a good person, stay present, and all your heart's desires and what your purpose in the world is going to happen, or what one person have today don't mean you won't have it till tomorrow. So, continue to clap for your friend because one day they're going to be clapping for you too. That's right. So you never know, what's going to happen.
I love that. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Thank you so much, Senator Lamar, for taking a seat at Truth's Table. We're honored to have you and get the honor of receiving your story and holding it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your word.
God bless you. Absolutely. Thank you so much, sis. Absolutely.
And before we go, just a quick word of blessing for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Gracious God, we just thank you so much for London, who you've made.
Yes.
And we ask God that you will continue to use her voice for good.
Yes.
She has gone through her own journey and she knows a pain that is so hard to even describe. And with that pain, she took it and she made it purposeful. And so God, we ask that you would bless everything that she is seeking to do to save the lives, to save the health and well-being of women in the state of Tennessee and even beyond this place. Would you continue to protect her? And we give you thanks and praise for her 2-year-old. And we pray that you will continue to uphold her and restore her. And that one day and one day soon, you will turn all of her mourning into dancing. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.